Once again, I am awakened. Incoming transmission from KitFox.
Tecton, are you operational?
I am.
Good. Then extract yourself from that bunker you call a base. Valiant is on the move.
My equipment has detected his activity. He shall not escape me this time.
Not so fast. He's put together a team.
Irrelevant.
Very relevant. I'm uploading the specs for his team now.
Analyzing threat potential. Target 1. Thomas Valiant, also known as Putty Man. Former member, Legion of Justice. Recorded powers include multiple shape-shifting vectors used primarily for disguise and deception. Designation disavowed. Target 2. Jonathan Ostrich, also known as the Human Calculator, also known as the Ostrich. Recorded powers include calculation of probabilities to the point of near precognition. Designation metahuman criminal. Target 3. Moira LeBlanc, also known as Phantasm. Former junior member, The Marvelous. Recorded powers include intangibility, mass manipulation, generation of mist and fog. Designation Rubicon Crosser. Target 4. Name unknown. Identified as Feral. Recorded powers include lycanthropy, enhanced agility and strength. Designation Rubicon Crosser. Target 5. Victoria Lowry, also known as Disc. Recorded powers include teleportation of small, inanimate objects, portal manipulation. Designation Mercenary. Target 6. Name unknown. Identified as Pulse. Recorded powers unknown. Designation unknown. Calculating. Threat potential minimal.
Minimal my eye, you piece of junk. I'm sending the recruits Ram and Rage to help you intercept Valiant and his team.
Unnecessary. They will be a liability.
Listen, I don't want any of your mistakes this time. That means I want the targets alive.
End transmission. KitFox is getting to be more and more of a pain. I'll have to deal with him sooner rather than later. After all, who does he think he's talking to? I'm a hero.
obstürmt oder schneit, und die Sonne uns sagt, der Tag glühend heiß, oder eiskalt die Nacht. Bestaubt sind die Gesichter, doch froh ist unser Sinn, ja unser Sinn. Es braust unser Panzer im Sturm wild dahin, ob stürmt oder schneit, und die Sonne uns sagt, der Tag glühend heiß, oder eiskalt die Nacht. Bestaubt sind die Gesichter.
You okay, Val?
Yeah, my ears are burning. That's all.
That ain't good. I should have worn some warmer clothes. I'm freezing my ball cap off out here.
All right. If everybody's there, can you hear me? This is my first live stream, so hopefully I'm going to get this right. If everybody's there, just give me a shout out in the comments if you can hear me. It's just me today, and I'm just going to be answering your questions about Thomas Valiant if you have any. So again, just let me know if you can hear me in the comments, first off, because again, this is the first time I've ever done this. And give me any of your questions if you have any questions. If not, I'm going to just talk about this. First, let me play another video that I put up. I just put this together recently. This is the most recent art that has been done by my colorist, and I'm going to add, let's see, a couple of things on here. Excuse me. So, I just want to let everybody know that this is the last day for the official campaign of Thomas Valiant. We are at, right now, about $23,694, which we have about, it's 25,000 that our next stretch goal comes out. But we've already hit 3 stretch goals. The book is obviously going to be fully colored, and we're going to have an 80-page giant. So there's an addition of, I think it was 8 pages. And also, I am going to be signing every book now, every copy of the graphic novel. And if we do hit the 25,000 mark before we end up in, how many hours is it? I think it's 9 hours, maybe 8 at this point. We will also be getting a new pinup poster by my artist, Nick Axe. He's the one who has done the cover, and he has done the Phantasm poster already. He will be doing one of the other females on the team, which would be Disc, and that's if we hit 25,000. He'll be doing a free poster that will go with every book. So just let me see if I got any questions here in the comments. Are there aspects like aliens and magic in Thomas Valiant? No, there are not. I'm going to keep this world as, I won't say small as possible, but I don't want it to be something that is going to stretch to the point of exaggeration where it's no longer believable. And I think aliens and magic, well, I'm not so sure about magic. There is superpowers, so how can you limit magic? But I don't think I'll have aliens, and I'm going to try to keep away from anything which is, say, multi-universe kind of ideas. Although the book is kind of based upon that. I'll get to that in a minute. But I'm trying to keep it as human as possible. I think one of the problems with DC and Marvel, one of the problems right now, is the fact that it's too much. I mean, you can't take it in, and it's not human. And that's the whole basis of my channel, the whole basis of why I'm writing this. I want to have human heroes. And that is going to be something that needs to be flushed out in a way that's not galactic empire. It's going to be nitty gritty, down in the dirt, human beings fighting for their lives, that kind of world. So let me see, 1 second. Let's see. Any other questions? How far along is the coloring process? Well, the coloring process, I had to wait for my colorist. He was working on, I think it was Demon Gun, up until just a couple of weeks ago, and he has hopped over onto my project. So we only have about 6 pages done so far, along with the pinup posters that you see right now. Although he is not doing the cover, my other artist, Nick X, is doing the cover. And so we're only about 6 pages in. Let's see. I think I'm running behind on the questions here. Let me go back up. Scrolling up, as Zach would say. Scrolling up. Let's see. What was the reason behind the X-Men typeface in the use of the word Valiant on the cover? Well, it's because that's the kind of book that I want to build, that I want to make. Everything in my world is, to some extent, visually coded. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. What I mean by that is that you're going to look at these characters and go, hey, I recognize that character. It's someone who looks like this. And that's to give you a jump start on already understanding this world so we can get straight into the action. Okay, because I know a lot of people are looking at my characters and going, this is just Mr. Fantastic, or that's just Batman, or Batman crossed with Wolverine. And that was done deliberately. It's done deliberately. First of all, there's enough change in them, so I'm not going to get sued. And secondly, it's because you're going to look at the character and say, all right, I kind of understand where this character is coming from. I don't have to give you a giant backstory in order for you to understand all of the characters, because there are a lot of characters. And it's the same with the world. This is an X-Men type world, and that's why I wanted to make Thomas Valiant look like that. That's why I put the cover words that way. It's to not so much copy, but to give you a cue as to what the world is going to be like and what you can expect from the story. So it's a really good question. Let's see. What will the logo look like on the cover? I don't know yet. Nick X, who is, again, the person who, my artist, who drew the cover, colored the cover, he is coming up with a logo because he also does that in his day job. So he's going to be coming up with the cover. I have a little idea where I want to go with it, but I'm leaving a lot in his hands. By the way, if anybody out there is looking for a really good artist, Nick is trying to get into the game of creating comics. He wants to have as much work as he possibly can. So he told me to just shout out his name at any point. And so if you want to go out there, if you're looking to do yourself up a comic, or if you're looking for a cover for your comic, he said, shout out his name. So I am only using him for the pinup posters and the cover. Renzo Rodriguez is doing all the internals. So just to let everybody know about that. So that's going to be Nick's forte. He's going to be the one that works on this, the logo, that is. Will there be a digital tier? No, I'm sorry, there will not. I don't know. I've seen so many pirated sites, and I trust my subscribers implicitly with my merchandise, but there are unscrupulous people out there, and I know that I'm just a small fry. But at this point, I don't think there will be. I'm a person also who just likes the physical. I don't know if I know there are a lot of good digital comics out there, but I don't consider them. I consider them something else than a comic. I don't know what it is. They're certainly entertainment, but I wouldn't call them a comic. So I was trying to avoid that. Let's see. Other questions? No problem. Keep the world small and orderly. Yes. Keep the world small and orderly. Yes, because I want to concentrate on heroes. Definitely. That's from Fenrir. Let's see. Will there be any redemption from the bad guys? Well, here's the thing. in creating this book, I think Renzo has done more to influence me than anyone else, than anything that I have come across yet. I tried to take my original characters and base them off other characters and just take that starting point and make them new characters in itself. But Renzo has given me a whole new way of looking at things. And one of the things Renzo wants to do is to do a KitFox comic on its own. He loves Batman. He loves Robin. Those were the comics that he was reading when he was growing up. And that's why he put so much painstaking detail into these characters, I think. But he wants a redemption story for KitFox. And that's not totally against the character. I'll say that right off. So there may indeed in the future be a redemption story for KitFox, again, driven by Renzo and his passion for these characters mostly. All right, let's see. Most common obstacle to readers is they can't get into the backstory. Definitely. I agree wholeheartedly. How long have these characters been in my head? Not too long, actually. I have written a lot of things, and they're all sitting under my bed. I have a novel, which I couldn't get published because well, it may be because my novel is completely awful, but I would also say it's probably because, in part, it's like my comic. It is full of toxic masculinity, and there's no way that's getting published today in your mainstream industry. But for these characters, honestly, it was only about a year before I produced a book that this came into my head. Most of my stories, quite honestly, come from dreams. I think you all know my propensity for logic, and I think it came from the fact that I used to play a lot of MMO video games when they were just on your computer, right? No multi-world on the internet, just on your computer. And I was always stuck in mazes. These are the kind of games that I played. So my mind works in a figure out the problem way as if it were a maze. And that has translated into my dreams so that my dreams are extremely complex and story-like and almost storyboarded, like I'm watching a movie or watching a show or reading a book. And this is where these characters came from, out of a dream that I had just about a year before I started creating this book. Let's see. Hi, RJ. Thanks for all you've done. I'll say, tell hi to JR. Okay, Eve. JR, if anyone doesn't know my old videos, JR is the persona that I put on to try to think about things in a way where your SJWs would understand them. So what else? Thomas Valiant one day. Okay. So next question. Is the fighting realistic with blood, etc., or more PG? It's hard to say. It starts off more PG, but in the end, it gets pretty, I won't say gruesome, but I'm trying to keep this, again, as I say on my Indiegogo page, this is for all ages. So I don't want anything to put off young children, but at the same time, I think young children should be reading Homer and Virgil, and there's a whole lot of death and destruction and blood and guts in that. So at the end of this book, there is certainly a battle royale, because the entire book is 3 chapters leading up to the fact that everyone in this world that are considered heroes want Thomas Valiant and his team dead, or at the very least destroyed and disbanded, even though they're just about to start. It's because they want to be true heroes, and they're going to show up all the other quote-unquote heroes that exist in this world because they're either someone who looks like a celebrity or someone who wants to be a god. And so they don't want true self-sacrificing heroes in this world because, again, it will show them up as frauds. It will show the other heroes up as frauds. So everybody that is a superpowered individual is going to come down upon their heads and try to destroy them when they first appear. So that's the gist of the action, and it does build. So yes, at the first it starts off PG, but as you get into it, it is going to get heavy at the end. I don't know if we say gruesome because, of course, our main character, Thomas Valiant, he's very much in the vein of Plastic Man or Mr. Fantastic, although I would think of him more in the terms, if you know anime, of Rimuru Tempest, or maybe like a gelatinous cube. But so there is a bit of, let's say, play with the fact that there is not much blood and guts because he's at times not something that can be blood and guts. Let's see. I just came in. First installment of a series. No, unfortunately not. As I am constantly telling everyone, unfortunately, I live literally in the woods. I live quite literally on an island. My property is like 200 acres of woods, and I live in the middle of it. I barely have power, quite honestly. What I have is satellite internet and streaming. I just can't stream on that. I've tried and it doesn't work. I can barely go on other people's live streams. Even when I do that, there's a lag, just because when you use satellite internet, it takes a little while for your information to get from one place to another because it has to go through a satellite and then a hub. So right now, I am just in a relative's place. I got in my car and drove for a while and asked if I could use their internet just so I could do this, just so I could talk about Thomas Valiant to you guys and thank everybody for what they have done to support my book and answer any of your questions. So if I ever get to do it again, it will probably be when I do the next closing out of the next book, because this book, with all its support, it has definitely prompted me to say that we are going to have a second book. I should redo that video in just 1 second. All right, so next question. Let's see. So Craig likes the Valiant cover. I love it as well. Let's see. Funny but inappropriate comment. Okay. Question. I'm just looking for question marks here. So unfortunately, I can't read all the comments. Take me forever, and it'll just be a whole lot of silence here. So if you want to ask me a question, please put a question mark on it so that I can tag it in my mind. See. What is Nick's page rate? I honestly can't tell you that because I don't have him doing any of the pages. I only have him doing the covers and the posters. Again, I don't want to say what his rate is because it may change. You'll have to contact him and ask him what you can do. I would say that it's pretty much standard for someone of his quality. I've asked around and his prices were reasonable. But again, I can't speak for him and I don't want to put words in his mouth. So unfortunately, I can't answer that question. Although if you follow him on Twitter, send him a message. I'm sure you can ask that question and get it answered. Just one thing before I continue on with my questions. In the background, now you're seeing some of the art from Thomas Valiant. Now you will see two versions of the cover. There is a blue one and a red one. Now the cover is the one that says number 1 on it. There's also one that looks like a cover, just says Thomas Valiant. That's one of our pinup posters. But the Nick Axe ones that are there, one is red and one is blue. I asked them to do a evening and a daytime one. So I'm not entirely sure which one I'm going to go with. I would like you guys to decide, actually. If you want to, please put that in the comments, whether you like the red or the blue. They'll be coming up in just a minute. I'll keep on replaying this as long as we're in here, so you'll get to see it over again. Let's see. I should click on these so that I'm completely new to this and completely hopeless. So I will start clicking on some of these questions to put them up on the screen. Let's see. Never. Okay. Please, it's a good comment here. It says, oops. RJ, please never sell the rights to this to anyone. Keep it to yourself and out of the hands of woke crazies. that is what I intend to do. I don't ever want to sell the rights to these characters. I intend to make at the very least, at the absolute minimum, a handful of comics. If things go well, I will be making a lot of comics. And I know that if I sell them, I could sell them to someone who intends to keep them in good condition and honor the characters, but who in the world knows what happens when they sell them. So yeah, these characters are mine, and that's the way I intend to keep it. Let's see. Okay. So Fenrir's got a lot of comments here saying, hoping that the Jays and KitFox get a redemption story. Yes. Again, Renzo is the driving force behind that. And I want to keep Renzo happy. So I think, I honestly, here's another question for you, if you want to put it in the comments as well. I was thinking ahead, although I should really concentrate on making sure I get everything perfect for this book, but thinking ahead for the next book, because there will be a next book. I was thinking of actually making some of the stretch goals floppies, which would be shorter comics along with the main graphic novel, and perhaps putting smaller stories, possibly redemption stories, possibly backstories for our characters in those floppies. Which would be worked on by someone else than Renzo, so that they could work in tandem with him. But that's just a suggestion for further campaigns. But let me know in the comments whether or not you think that's a good idea. Will there be adult level drama with bad words, sex, and graphic violence? So, no, there will not be. There won't be any bad words or sex, but there will certainly be violence, because this is a comic book. I won't say graphic violence. You're just going to see, like you see on the screen right now, you're going to see battles, and they're going to get intense because they do intensify, but there's not going to be any graphic violence. I wouldn't call it graphic violence. As I said, I'm trying to keep this so that we have this for all ages. Actually, I'll tell you this now. I am going to look at the printing costs for how much it's going to be for the printing and what the next level up is. And I will probably be doing a small charity campaign at some time after it's been released to take a lot of my backstock and give it to children's charities for this comic, because I just want to give it away. I want as many people as possible to read this story. So I will probably be looking for, upstanding children's charities to give copies of the book away to at some point. And certainly, I don't think that because I want it to be accessible to children, I'm going to keep it at a certain level. But that doesn't mean in any way that it won't be something that adults will completely and utterly enjoy. Something like the old X-Men comics and the actual true great runs of things like Thor. They were accessible to children, they were accessible to adults, and still thought of as great comics for both. What was the inspiration for the main character? Honestly, I can't tell you what the inspiration was. As I said earlier in the stream, I had a dream, and as I explained, my dreams are very intense, very long and storyboarded, and are something that you would see on a television. It'd be like you're watching a movie, and I just dreamt of this character, and that was it. I had to write it down because that's where most of my stories come from. Let's see. You could have your Batman KitFox fight Patrick Thomas. I'm not entirely sure about that. I actually don't know who KitFox's main antagonist would be right now. I think it's mainly himself, actually. Let's see. Are you going to in demand, or is this the final cutoff? Well, that's a good question. I am going into in demand. However, only up until the final cutoff will it count for whether or not we reach our stretch goals. So I would like as many people who can order now to order now, just because if we reach our next $25,000 stretch goal within the next 5-6 hours, I guess, which I do believe it is possible, you will get more with your book. So yes, but we will be going into demand. What was the reason you settled on 72 and now 80 pages? Let's see. Was it just because the smaller size seem in vogue in Indiegogo? No, it's actually the printing costs. 72 was a cutoff for printing costs, what I was looking at. And they are, I don't know, multiples of 4, I think, if I can remember correctly. When I was looking at the printing costs, that was like 4 months ago. But that's why I stopped at 72. But we've increased it to 80 because that's the next level up. But I don't think Renzo could handle more than 80 pages for this book. Certainly not if I want him to handle a sequel, which I do. I am hopefully going to retain Renzo right away so that when he's done working on my 80 pages for this book, he will start working on the next book. So I don't want to bog him down with any more than 80 pages because that's a lot for one artist to handle. He is handling not only my book, but of course, Richard Meyer's book right now. And he also had another small job with, I think it was Boom. He did the backstory for one of the comics that they had out last month. So he's a busy man. So I can't honestly ask him to do any more than 80 pages. Let's see. Who are the artists working on the interior of the book? The artist is Renzo Rodriguez. If you want to go over to my Twitter account, I know not a lot of you have Twitter, and I really don't use Twitter except to publish my stuff. If you go over to my Twitter account, it's RJ of the Island. You can link to Renzo. Also, on the Indiegogo page for this campaign, if you scroll right down to the bottom, you'll see the information for all the artists where you can contact them. So Renzo's contact information is right there. If you want to go and talk to him, if you have a job for him or anything else. But his name is Renzo Rodriguez. And right now, I do believe, I don't know what area in Mexico he is in, but I believe he's in Mexico. I got a lot of international people working on this book. Let's see. Oh, Mario, hail the chat. Very good. Eve says, can you make your novel an add-on for future campaigns? I don't know. My novel was not really a science fiction novel. It was a futuristic novel where everything goes back to being very, we'll say, 17th, 18th century kind of thing. So it's in the future, but it looks like the past, but it's very big. I did a lot of world building, and I had to almost cut the thing in half when I did my editing for it to try to get it published. It is fairly large, even cutting it in half. It's probably about 350 pages. So I would like to try and make a series of graphic novels out of it at some point, but it will probably look more like a manga than a comic. So it's that kind of story, and I'm hoping that once we get a couple of books into this journey into comics, I might convert it into a manga or something of that nature and sell it on its own. Let's see. Okay, so hail the chat, hail the chat. JR is Bizarro World RJ. You are correct. Oh, there's Nick. Oh, I didn't notice that before. He has Phantasm as his icon. That is a beautiful picture that he created. I am so happy that I got Nick to do those pinup posters and cover. They are beautiful. Let's see. Hail the chat. Renaissance Publishing Group. Hey, RJ. Can't wait to get my hands on your graphic novel. Thank you very much. Let's see. What else we got here? Just give me a second here. I got to scrolling down. I should do the Zach thing. Scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. If anybody has not seen my video where I do a parody of Richard Meyer and his comic reviewing from about 2 years ago, you should go and check that out. Go and find that on my channel. That was one of the most enjoyable things that I've ever created. It's so easy to get Richard's, I don't know, special qualities down. Something like that. I've been told I'm a good mimic. So my problem was that when I was recording it, I had to do it on my phone and my hand was shaking like crazy just because I had never done anything like that before. So it is a little bit shaky, but I did my best and I tried to give Richard a little bit of a ribbing without certainly making it anything that would offend him. Because, well, quite honestly, Richard is the one who won't say help me make my channel, but it's because of him that I made my channel. My very first video was a video about Jawbreakers, about his crowdfunded comic and how much it excited me. And after that, I started doing a bunch of crowdfunded comics for videos. And I think I will go back to doing that on my channel once everything is settled down a little bit for my campaign. Just because the reason why I stopped doing them was they did take a little bit longer than my normal videos, but it was because I just kicked a hornet's nest when I did a couple of them because I didn't ask the creators whether or not I could promote their books. And I was getting books both from Indiegogo and from Kickstarter. And some of the people on Kickstarter, when I started to promote their books, holy Moses, did they just fly into a furor. I opened up my Twitter account one day, and usually I have like 2 or 3 notifications, and I had 900 notifications just because the entire spectrum of these SJW wackos started to attack me because I was promoting books for people who did not want to be associated with anything Comicsgate whatsoever. And I had Comicsgate material in the same video, just in the same video, promoting their book and promoting other people's books, because I usually did about 10 at a time. And yeah, that just kicked up a hornet's nest. But I think I have a better footing right now as to what kind of books I want to promote and what kind of books I would like to do videos on. So I will probably start to do those again in the near future, but they won't be replacing my normal Saturday video, which is the normal video, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. And just a quick thing to point out here. A lot of people have been telling me that they're not getting notifications about my videos and that they just didn't even realize I was still making videos. It stopped being something they saw on their feed 6 months ago. So just to let everybody know, I put out a video every Saturday. I try to do it within Saturday evening area. Sometimes not until late Saturday evening. There was once or twice where I had to push it to Sunday just because my videos were so complicated. But on the weekend, I always put out a video. I haven't missed a Saturday, I don't think, for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So if you're not getting notifications for my regular videos, I put one out every Saturday, usually again in the evening. So let's see. Back to the questions. Fourth Age, RJ, glad to see you are streaming. Back the book. All the best. Thank you very much. Again, this is going to be something that is be very rare. So I'm glad I have so many people here. I got almost 50 people in the chat. That's amazing. Thank you very much to everyone. Let's see. So superpowered individuals within this world are like the 7 from The Boys. I'll give you, I don't think so. I wouldn't put it that way. I'm going to give you something which is a backstory for my world, to give you a little bit of a taste of what these characters are like. It's the fact that, and I mentioned this on other live streams that I've done over the course of talking about this campaign, so this is nothing new. You might have heard it before. It's not a spoiler. But for the characters, they have extraordinary powers, but this is something that is going to, I don't know how to explain it exactly. Well, let me put it this way. the more they use their powers, the less human they become. So this is why a lot of the characters within this book, they are superheroes, and they call themselves heroes, but they look like villains. They are basically what you would see in Marvel and DC right now. They call themselves heroes, but they are not. So the point being that in the backstory of what is going on is the fact that the more the characters, the stronger they are, and the more they use their powers, the less human they become, and therefore the less heroic they become, because you can't be heroic without being truly human. I think if you've listened to my videos, you probably understand that. So for someone like Valiant and his team, they need to balance things out. And this is the answer to the question of why I made my characters this way. And somebody had suggested to me that I made them too overpowered, or at the very least, their powers were something that could get overpowered really easily. And the solution to that is the fact that if they wish to remain true heroes, there needs to be a balance between being human and using their power. And if they go over the edge with their powers, they will become less human. They will become something, again, like you see in Marvel and DC, that call themselves heroes but really aren't. So that is what is going to ground my characters and my world in the human, and make sure that there is no giant, I don't know, event going to happen. One of the reasons why there's not going to be a giant event happening every 6 months or anything of the kind. It needs to be always anchored in the human if you want to have a good story. As I'm always saying on my channel, story is a representation of reality. If you can't recognize the reality that's down there on the page so that you can bring it into your mind and understand what's going on, if it's too out there, like you see in a lot of Marvel and DC, if there's not enough human there, then that story is not a good story. So I know that's a long explanation, but so I really don't think that my characters are anything like the 7 from The Boys. Let's see now. Scrolling down. Oh, yes. Zach is sitting in a Walmart parking lot. Probably. Unfortunately, I think that's where he does his best videos. He used to do good porch videos or good videos while he was stuck in the closet, but now he does Walmart videos. Yes. Poor Zach stuck in his car. I think the man, he did a video last week talking about, well, of course, every time you go outside, you get a hot dog. Isn't that why you go outside? And I thought to myself, okay, that explains why Zach needs to constantly exercise. I mean, exercise is a good thing. I exercise on a regular basis, but he goes overboard on it, and I think it's because of his diet. Anyways, that's just an aside. Let's see. You have your own island. No, I do not. No, I live in a fairly big island. The island that I live on is, let's see, most people are American here, so I'll give you American standards. It's probably like twice the size of Maryland. So it's a big island. But that being said, there are small islands around it. But I don't own one of them, no. I live on a peninsula, which is mostly woods, although the ocean is probably like 500 feet from the back end of my property, just because it's through the woods. I don't own anything on the shore. That's ridiculous. Shorefront property is crazy. Let's see. RJ, are you planning to do a volume 2? Now, I'm probably behind on these questions, but definitely I am going to do a volume 2. The success of this campaign has led me to make sure that I'm going to do a second volume. Unless the world economy collapses or China invades or some crazy thing happens, yes, there's going to be a volume 2. I'm honestly, what I plan to do with the money that is coming from this campaign is to fund the next campaign. This campaign right now is coming out of my pocket. I'm going to try to pay for the entire thing out of my own pocket, so that what I made off of this campaign is going to pay for the next one. And if I never get my money back for paying for this comic by myself, I'm quite all right with that. So yes, your contribution, part of the, I don't know what it's at now. Let's take a look. Part of the $23,000 at the very minimum that has been generated for this book, that is going towards a volume 2. All right, let's see. Andrew has a question. Is there going to be any kind of romance or something like that? Or is it pure testosterone driven plot? There is, no, let me see. Let me put it this way. I do want to include some of that, but I'm not including some of that in the first book. You need to be introduced to the characters and feel for these characters before any kind of romance is actually going to make an impact or make any sense. So within this first volume, there's not going to be any of that, but I certainly hope to include that into my storylines as we go along. The plan right now is to have the end of this book connect to the beginning of the next one, because this book itself happens over just one period of time. There's no time jumps, and there's very few jumps in place. Excuse me for 1 second. But we will have a short time jump between this book and the next. We will be continuing on with the effects of this book into the second one. That is my intention. So I want to get the characters into a situation that is going to lead to a lot of good storytelling. And yes, romance is part of good storytelling. And since we have 3 guys and 3 girls on this team, I'm certain that something will come out of that. Let's see. Oh, hail to Albino Thunderbuns. Very good. I didn't recognize you in the chat. Very, very great to see you there. Oh, good heavens. Michael's been waiting to join the stream.
Not just me, RJ. Nick
There's someone else
backstage, apparently, as well.
Oh, good heavens.
But you don't need us, man. You're going great. This is reminding me of one of those old scrolling down your boy Zach streams. We were talking about Jawbreakers. Well,
I've been trying to do that, but I am not a person who can actually look at more than one thing at a time. I apologize for not seeing you guys.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
It's all good. Yeah. No, this is great. Hey, you're like 403 backers and over almost 24,000 US now. That's that's an accomplishment, man. Congratulations, RJ. That's you've put in what, I don't know how hundreds of videos now. I mean, this is great. This is phenomenal. Congratulations. Great hard work. That's awesome, man.
Thank you very much. I've been trying my best to build an audience, and I need to thank everybody who shared my videos, because really that's the way that my channel has grown. And that's the reason why I think I've been able to be so successful in this book, is just because of my subscribers. So if anyone out there who wants to make their own book, you need to have a connection. That's one thing you need to do.
But the reason why people are sharing your videos is because it has value. I mean, the things that you're talking about are relevant and they're meaningful and they matter to people. And so it's not just that they're doing you a favor or anything like that. It's something that actually has to get out there. So I think like you doing the work that you're doing, I mean, I hate to sound a little sexist, but you're doing man's work here. Like you're really putting it out there and you're making it known. And what's great is just how you're able to articulate, put it all together, and just really make it clear for people what's going on and why this is happening. And because I mean, there's so many people, I mean, obviously that aren't even involved with comics, that they see these things and they're not really aware like we are, because we're in it every day. We're on live streams, we're watching it, listening to it while we're drawing or working or what have you. So we kind of know we got the our finger on the pulse of what's going on. There's so many normies and everything out there that are like sensing this stuff and they don't know, and more of them are coming in and just figuring this stuff out. And channels like yours and obviously Zach's and everything else, they're helping. So the effort that people put in and sharing videos and promoting the campaign and everything else, it really is a marker of just the kind of work that you're doing and how you're helping to bring awareness to just the madness of the world right now. So yeah, it's largely you, man. Seriously, good work.
Oh, thank you. I've always, it was my intention earlier on in life to become a professor, but that never materialized just because when I was doing my master's, I really disliked where it was going because I saw the university world in its full glory at that point, and it was not something that I wanted to be a part of. And
No,
I'm really glad that I got an output.
My wife, most of her family are teachers, and they talk about it all the time. It is not it's a known quantity what you're talking about, and it's not pretty. Yeah, it's infected everything. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna. Oh, I got a little comment here from Chris. No super chat button. No, I'm sorry, I can't understand like half the things that are going on with this live stream. You want me to start putting in super chats?
Yeah.
If you want to actually
one thing at a time.
Yeah. If you want to actually support, you go over to the Indiegogo page and buy the book. If not, you could leave a donation there. But I don't need any more donations. I really am amazed at the amount of money that has been generated from everyone just buying a $25 book. It's amazing.
Yeah, much thanks.
Let's see. I'm just going to scroll down here for a second, see if I can find any more questions. Fenrir has another question. Just one second. I hope for the old 80s and 90s style of storytelling with cool fights, muscular characters, and attractive women. Will there be? Yes, there will be. That is exactly what I am going for.
That's the whole game. Yeah.
Yep. And as I had talked to Nick and both Nick and Renzo, when we were creating and doing up the posters for Phantasm, it was that I wanted to have beautiful women. I didn't want them having to be overly sexualized in order for you to say that is a beautiful woman. And that is something that needs to be there, I think.
I mean, your direction was really specific, and you know, it was this thing where I knew exactly what you're talking about. It's not like we hadn't seen it before, like all the Hollywood starlets of, let's say, the 30s and 40s and so on. If you look at their portfolios, their photos and everything, and the photographers knew what they're doing, beautifully lit. The set design and everything was gorgeous, and then the actresses were just these angels, and they were at the same time it wasn't that they weren't sexy. It's just that wasn't the thing that you were beaten over the head with. And so when you sent me that email saying, you know, this is what I'm looking for, I knew exactly what you were talking about, because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, this is how we can put forward the feminine aspect. We don't have to go down that other road, and that's not really what this is about. And so that classic beauty that you're talking about really was what I was going for. Yeah.
And this is the first time I've actually got to talk to you directly, Michael. What do you think about the coloring?
That's what I wanted to talk about. People in the chat here probably won't know that, you know, RJ and I have been, you know, DMing each other, you know, getting some, you know, like giving some advice and comments about the colors and everything. And particularly that piece that you had up just pretty much the whole time, where they're on the rooftop looking out, and there's all that, you know, that one right there. Mm-hmm. That was exactly what I was talking about when I said get those colors to harmonize, those backgrounds to, you know, really complement and make the characters pop out in the foreground. That's great. I'm really, really excited when I saw that piece. I think, yeah, you know, it would have been amazing. I think you would have, you know, even potentially doubled what you're on right now if you had have been able to go out of the gate with the colors. And I know, you know, the situation, you weren't sure whether or not, you know, how it was going to be received and everything. So that being the case, either way, these are phenomenal colors.
Yeah, I have to say that I can't believe how enjoyable it is to put together a book like this with other other artists, really, because I've written things before. I've written long form novels and stories before, again, which are sitting under my bed. But to do it this way, I had an idea in my head, and I gave it to Renzo and to Nick as well. But this picture especially, I gave it to Renzo, and he took it to an entirely different level. He took what I had asked him for, and he just doubled its quality. And then it was because of that when I finally got to Paul, my the colorist, and he said, "What does it look like? What's the time of day? Let me know." And I just went through Renzo's art for this page and the next couple, and I know that the sun's going down. Renzo started drawing long shadows in the page after this. I said, "So this is what Renzo put in. This is what we agreed on during the script anyways. So put that in there." And Paul just blew it out of the water with this picture.
Totally. It's all the little points that I said to you, you need to kind of tick off. It's everything. They're all. It's so great. Renzo is, we all know he's a phenomenal artist. But pairing him with a fantastic colorist just brings the whole thing together. It makes it three-dimensional. It makes it real, and that's what you have always talked about as what you want to do with the characters and the writing. You want to go back to that, to those sort of stories and characters that actually resonate with people, because there's some grounding in reality where there's stakes and things matter. So I think it just perfectly complements at least the vision that you've told me that you have.
I'm just going to get back to a couple of questions here before I get too far down. Let's see, KJ. Did I follow any Comics Code Authority? No, I did not. I was weaned on early 1980s comics. They were always a part of my life. They were there from the very beginning. So that's what I see as being the great age of comics. But we can make something as equally great today. And if you have an idea of how those comics were made and the greatness of them just by reading them and having them as part of your history, I don't think you need to follow a code. I think you can build something in your own mind that has worth without having to have someone tell you what direction to go in. I just completely messed up my chat bar. You have to give me a second to find out where I am.
It jumps down sometimes when you get too many. That's a good thing. It's a good problem to have.
I apologize if I missed anyone's questions. Let's see here. There was another question that I was going to answer, and now it's completely gone. There's a good question from Rex. Is this on Indiegogo? Yes, it is on Indiegogo, I think for another 6 to 7 hours. I'm scrolling up instead of scrolling down now. Yeah, you're right.
9 hours, actually.
Is it 9 hours?
Yeah.
I can't keep track of these things. Days have become a blur when I'm trying to get these things done.
Oh, we just broke 24K.
Oh,
nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Holy Moses. I don't even know. I apologize if I missed your question. I'm just going to have to start at some point and go down because I can't find where I was. Let's see.
You can always ask the question again.
Yes, certainly. If anybody is looking to listen to a little bit more of this, I have a live stream that I'm doing. Oh, who in the world am I doing it with? I'm doing a live stream with Michael, which is 11 o'clock Atlantic if you're in the States, I do believe. Michael's in Australia, so
yeah, I always work on Eastern time, whatever Eastern time is. So
yeah, it's Eastern time, right?
Eastern.
Okay,
Brave man.
I do have another stream before that, which is supposed to be a pre-stream for Michael's. Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, nor can I find out where I'm supposed to be going on that one. But I do have 2 more streams tonight. I'll probably be here for a little bit longer answering your questions. But if anybody would like to go over to Michael's stream, again, it's 11 o'clock Eastern tonight. We will be discussing Thomas Valiant a little more, and we'll have some great other guests on there. I just love Michael's streams. Everybody should go give him a follow.
Thank you.
Especially,
I didn't know about Michael's channel until actually you were on there, RJ, and I've been following it ever since. It's great, yeah.
Oh, thanks, Nick. Yeah, we have a lot of fun over there, and it's just a bunch of guys talking comics and crowdfunding. So we're sort of a bit more focused on what's going on over in crowdfunding and Comicsgate. But I was always a fan of RJ ever since I found him as well. We talk about these topics a little bit as well, the kinds of things that RJ talks about. But he's sort of, in my mind, he's sort of like the source of truth, the Bible. For all this stuff. That's what I get. I get all of my ideas off him, and then I pass them off as my own. No, I'm
well. What I like about your channel is just you guys always have a theme, and it's very conversational. And it really works. It plays nice. I like it.
I can see a couple of more good questions there, RJ.
I'm just going to. I'm just jumping in. The question here that I got is, how far are you in terms of completing the book? Let's see. Renzo and I. Well, there's 3 chapters. The book is divided into 3 chapters. Renzo and I are in the middle of chapter 3 with the art right now. I have the story completely done. But Renzo, again, he is a busy man. So we're in the middle of chapter 3. He is feeding me the pages, and I'm feeding them to my colorist. And then hopefully, if I can get a good piece of software, I'm going to be doing the lettering myself, because I think that is something that needs to be done in order to incorporate the best parts of my story. So the goal is to get this out by the end of this year, so December of this year, but I am going to work furiously to try to beat that. I will have to rely on Renzo and how fast he can go, but I'm not going to push him beyond his limits, because I know he, again, has many other projects on the go. But you will see it. The plan is that you will see it by Christmas of this year. And if I have my way, it will be sooner than that, because quite honestly, I want to finish up this book, get it out there for people, and just start on the race to the second book, because I am so excited. As I said, I'm taking the money that is coming in from this book and using it to generate a second book, quite honestly. Let's see. Question. Scrolling down.
There you go. I mean, hey, he doesn't live stream anymore, so you can just take it.
Yeah, I could just take. Although I should be in a small closet with a bathroom where I can throw bathroom next to it where I can throw the comics into the toilet, right?
It's about the acoustics as well, the closet and car acoustics.
Oh yes. I actually, in my earlier videos, I made a couple of car videos. I never found the acoustics to be very good for me.
Yeah, me as well. Me too. I used to stick my phone on my dash and drive home from dropping off my daughter from school. That's how I got started in YouTube.
Here's a good question. Incubus Time Lord. No aliens and no magic energies. Well, I wouldn't say. I'm not sure about the no magic energies. I do have a very specific point where the powers of the people are going to come from. So he says, then the source of the superhuman powers is advanced science and technology, superhumans and mutants only. No, there is a level of technology. I'm trying to keep the technology at a cap as well, just because, again, that's one of the things that I think breaks a world, is if you get too much technology, it becomes magic in itself, and then it breaks the idea of the real, which I'm always talking about. It's a reflection of reality that needs to be a backdrop in order for you to draw out the humanity of the characters. So I'm trying to keep the technology really not much more advanced than what we have. But I can't tell you much more than that, unfortunately, because this would be one of the large story elements that I want to dive into within the stories that I want to tell. So it will be a journey of discovery, both for you and the characters themselves, to find out where their powers come from. That much I can say. Let's see, scrolling down. Oh, I have to redo the video. 1 second. Can Bancroft be a hero in RJ's universe?
No one wants that. I don't really have the right physique, I don't think, to fit into this particular universe.
It's a very interesting question. And again, one of the story elements that I want to explore within my stories, but there is a very specific reason why I included a map in my story. It's because geography plays a major part in the extended story that I want to tell. So the question, are Australians human, is a very good one. That might actually be answered within the books. So who's Bancroft? Oh, there's a good one. Who's Bancroft? Michael Bancroft. What? I can never remember the exact name of your channel, Michael. What is the exact name?
It's just my name. It's just
your
Bancroft.
name.
Yeah.
Because I always confuse his live stream. I always think it's Late Night with Comic Skate or Up Late with Comic Skate.
Yeah, that we start back in the day when I was I was promoting the Lucent. We would just do normal shows, and then every Friday we would do a long sort of drunk 8-hour whatever goes thing that we called Late Night with Comic Skate. That did not prove to be particularly something that I could do ongoing. So I ended up, but people like the name, so I ended up just changing the name of my show to Late Night with Comic Skate, but the name of my channel is just my name.
I'm loving this live stream. I wish I had access to the technology so that I could do more.
I wish
live
you
streams.
did as well. Will you be on this internet tonight?
I will be.
Excellent.
I will be on this internet tonight. If I don't know if you're in at the first of the stream, I was explaining that I do. Well, Michael, that I live in the backwoods, literally, and so I use my satellite internet. But no, I made a journey, made a deal with one of my relatives so that I could have their house for the day, so that I could do live streams, because they are in civilization. Let's put it that way. Civilization meaning that they're connected to some kind of power grid with internet access. So,
yeah, it's difficult to carry on a conversation with the 10-second delay, but we get it done anyway. I mean, it's worth it. Apparently, Nick got punted from the backstage. He has to be relet in.
Oh, okay.
It happens from time to time. And I have to run. It was an honor to be able to come onto your very first live stream, RJ.
Thank you very much. And I will be at yours with bells on.
Excellent. Yeah, everyone. It's just my name, Michael Bancroft. Go subscribe if you want to check out RJ at 11 p.m. Eastern tonight. We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna shill the hell out of Thomas Valiant tonight.
Sweet.
It's gonna be a good time. All right, guys. I'll see you around.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
All right. Bye.
I have no doubt we are going to reach that $25,000 stretch goal. Either, Nick. It looks like you are going to be doing that poster for this campaign rather than the next. So,
wow.
We, if anyone has not heard yet, the $25,000 stretch goal is a free pinup poster that will be mailed out to every backer. It is from Nick Axe, the creator of the beautiful art. Let me see if I can find it right here. Both of the cover and of Phantasm. This is Nick's other pinup poster that you can order with the campaign. He's going to be doing one for Disc, which is one of the other female characters, as our $25,000 stretch goal. So again, if you want to hit that stretch goal, it only goes until the campaign ends. I think it's midnight West Coast time that they close down. So just to let everybody know. I got another question here. Let's see. What did I study in college? Well, that's a question and a half. What did I study in college? I have several degrees. So I started off with an undergraduate degree in history and classics. Classics is ancient civilization, ancient language, and ancient philosophy, and politics. So it encompasses mostly the Roman and Greco world. So that was my first degree. My second degree was in political science and philosophy. Both of them are undergraduate degrees. So that's what I studied as an undergraduate. It was my intention first to become a teacher, but then the people at the university said, "You've taken so many classes, you can have a second degree and you should become a professor." And one of my professors said, "Definitely, that's what you should do." And he prompted me to go to do my master's program. Probably not far from where Nick is, but I won't say exactly where that is. But when I got there, I did my work. I got things done, but I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy it at all. And when I, excuse me, just give me 1 second. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. At my master's program, I studied political theory, classical political theory. So I combined all the things that I had done for my undergraduate. So I did classics, which was ancient Greece, political theory. So I studied everything basically written before Plato and tried to show how it all led up to his philosophical ideas of the good, and Aristotle as well, as the true, the good, and the beautiful. So I'm always talking about Aristotle and Plato. So that's what I studied in university.
What was it about it that you didn't enjoy? Was it what we were talking about before?
Well, see, the thing was, I went to a very small university for my undergraduate, and in that program, I did an honors for one of my undergraduate programs, and it was quite literally just myself and the professor. That's how small this class was, because I had to do a thesis for it. And there was another class that I had taken, which ancient Greek, and it was only like me and two other people. And we actually had the class with the university president. So I was used to a setting where the students came first, and that was what I thought university was about, and about knowledge as well. When I got to the larger universities, I found out that students came about fourth down the pile for what the professors saw as any kind of priority. And at the same time, they weren't seeking new knowledge whatsoever. They were looking to regurgitate. They were looking for something that fit the mold. And if you go to my channel, you know that I don't fit the mold of a lot of things. So yeah, it was the fact that I just couldn't stand the idea of another 4 years doing a doctorate with people that I did not respect, whose ideas I did not agree with, even though some of them were conservative. They were very much of the mind of the ancients were wrong, the medievals were wrong. You can't think of an idea of the true, the good, and the beautiful. And it was something that really galled me. So I had to get away from it.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can find another question here. Scrolling down. Scrolling down. Again, I apologize if I missed your question. I'm looking for question marks. And I should re-up the video so we can look at this beautiful art once again. Let's see. Scrolling down. It just jumped another time. Is this going to be an ongoing series? It is my intention to make it an ongoing series. Yes. I don't know if the second book is going to have the same title, but it will be an ongoing series. It is definitely my intent. The second book, again, which I only have in my head right now because I want to concentrate on this one, it is going to be a result of the actions from the end of this book. And the third one, again, which I have in my head, will be the result of the actions of that one. So yes, it's definitely going to be a continuous series. Again, I want to make it something like your old 1980s X-Men, where one disaster leads to a conclusion, which leads to a problem, which leads to another disaster, or something of that kind. So there's going to be... well, we've all been there. I like to take the philosophy that there are no bad situations. There's only things you need to learn to overcome.
Agreed.
Let's see now. You sent, Chuck has said that he sent EVS a message. He has to be involved in this. Thank you very much. Ethan, I have said on one of my videos that of the people that have brought others to the campaign page, Ethan is, well, he's not at the top. There is someone that is actually brought me more than him, but Ethan gave me hundreds of referrals. And that was certainly something that it's certainly something that I appreciate. And I gave him a thank you, a profuse thank you on Twitter, because that was the only way that I could actually get a hold of him. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Let's see. RJ, have you checked out The Mortal Premise? No, I have not. However, is it, I don't even know. Is it a comic? Is it a graphic novel? Is it a book? I don't know. But if it is a graphic novel, I would love people to start putting good graphic novels that are on sale in the comments of my videos, just because, as I said earlier on in this live stream, I want to try to get doing live streams about other creators and other Indiegogo projects, so that I can put the word out there to help them make their own comic, because that is the biggest thing to overcome with selling your book, is to get the word out there. Let's see. And I have to say, Nick, with my Twitter account, I had so few followers that every time you or Renzo would retweet something, it would get more notifications than I would get in a day. So I have to thank you very much for that.
I don't have that many Twitter. I have more on Facebook than Twitter, and YouTube. I haven't started that one up yet, so I have to get on that.
Right. Here's a good question. Why did I choose Renzo as my artist? Well, I just put out a call for someone who would do clean art, and I wanted it in the vein of someone like George Perez, John Byrne. That is the kind of clean art that I was looking for. Didn't have to be that detailed. It could have been something like Paul Smith. But both Renzo and Nick contacted me saying that, I want to be part of this project. And I have to thank you again, Nick. That was, I can't thank you enough and Renzo enough for coming towards me and asking if you could be part of this project, because I was floundering in the water at that time as to what I was going to do for an artist. And I had already chosen Renzo before I got contacted by Nick. But Renzo's art is exactly what I was looking for. And
no, he's crushing it. Yeah. It was easy to reach out. I mean, like I said, watching your videos, it really aligned with a lot of the stuff that I have a writing partner, and we've been talking about a lot of the stuff that you've been talking about for so long. And what was incredible was just how, as I said before, you were able to just put it in terms that and also provided the context of where a lot of these poisonous ideas were coming from. We had sort of touched on it a bit, but you really helped to codify it, and it was easy to reach out. I mean, I think I've reached out to maybe 3 people in total, since I don't know how you found Zach, but I remember, I think he only had 3 videos when I first found him. And the reason why I found him was because I did a search for Uncanny X-Men, and I had this idea for a YouTube channel. And he actually had done a video on Uncanny X-Men talking about how there was already diversity there. Look, Storm was the leader. And from that moment, I subscribed to him. So I've been like kind of in the game for a long while, but I never really reached out to anybody. And then you came along, and like I said, you helped to codify, I think, a lot of what people were feeling, and being able to put it in words and make it that clear. And I think that the general folk are interested as well. But I think you're really hitting on some creators, artists and writers who are looking for the way out. They're looking for that structure that might actually help their work. And I think your channel is one of those channels that people go to hear your ideas presented in the way that you present them. And I'm sure people are taking notes. They're thinking about their own work, and they're thinking about how comics have shifted so far away from what they were. And the things that you're talking about helps people bring it back. And I think with, technology the way it is and everything else, it's not just about bringing it back to the way it was. I think it's bringing it back to, yes, the values and the structure of then, but with this new technology, with so many people kind of in the game of art and creating and everything else, it just makes sense that we're going to push each other. And I think yours is a foundation that we can build upon that allows us to push, these classic ideas even further, and making them more interesting, more inventive, more fun, yet keeping that foundation there. And so it was just really easy for me to reach out, man. It was really a no-brainer. As I said, I think I've been involved since almost the beginning of Zach's channel. I think he had 3 videos. Didn't reach out to anybody, and I think I've reached out to maybe 2 or 3 people, and yeah, it was an easy choice for sure.
Well, I'm glad that I've been able to, at the very least, explain some things to people, because that was what I was hoping to do with my channel. Not that that was the reason for me trying to make my channel. Honestly, quite honestly, I was listening to Zach myself, and I said to myself, well, I need to explain this to myself, because although Zach was presenting it in ways that we could understand that it was there, it didn't fit together in my mind quite well enough. So I would work it over in my mind, and I would always explain these things to myself. And the reason why I started making videos of this kind that I do now is because I figured if I'm explaining it to myself, I might as well explain it to myself so that I can record it, so that I can, first of all, remember what I had thought about before, and other people might want to hear it as well. So that's why I started making the kind of videos that I make right now.
For sure. And I mean, obviously Zach has his style, EVS has his, on and on and on, and you have yours. And, sharing your thoughts as you have, like I said, you have a very different style from Zach, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate the clarity. So yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, I'm going to try and get through as many questions as I can, because we have about 20 minutes until the end of the hour, and I'm going to have to go at the end of the hour. Although I may try and do another live stream a little bit later on tonight, if I can, if anybody's interested, that is. But I'll answer as many questions as I can right here. Let's see. No, I will not be wearing a blouse on Michael's stream. It's much too cold where I am to wear a blouse. You just can't do that. Let's see. Thank you very much.
Just some guys, great.
Yeah, just some guy introduced me to Comicsgate. Well, that is, which is funny, because a lot of people get to my channel and they listen to video after video after video and comment and don't realize that I'm part of Comicsgate. After a while, they go, "Wait a minute, RJ is a part of Comicsgate, really?" So it's
you don't really wear it like a badge, really. I think your Comicsgate or otherwise, I think it's your ideas. I think that's really what people are going to know you for.
All right, let's see. Are they going to have any relatable female heroes? Not in an SJW way. Yes, indeed. Nick and I were just talking about that. I probably answered your question already. We want to make beautiful women, attractive women, and make them feminine. And there are going to be certainly female heroes in a feminine way. So,
yeah, there's strength and beauty in that, right? So yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Everyone, here we go. Here's the comment I get almost every 5 videos. Get a better microphone. I will probably get a better microphone at some point, but quite honestly, I'll let everybody know, and I say this over and over again, it's not the microphone, it's my voice. I have a very, even when I was literally in junior high, people would say, "You sound like an old man." So it is my voice. It's not built for radio, but it's the best I got. So let's see. Scrolling down. Holy Moses, I'm way behind. Let's
Maybe you
see.
should start smoking. Get one of those like rusty chainsaw voices.
Well, if I do many live streams, I might actually get that.
Yeah, really.
Is the story setting based on any real world city? Well, yes and no. The basis of the story is where I began. Okay, because I always like to start from an idea and work outward from it, and then work it over until it becomes mine. So the beginning of the idea is the late 1980s amalgam universe of both Marvel and DC, where they were both pushed together into one. So what you have here is a comic that is based upon the idea of what if those two worlds never separated apart? What if those two worlds had stayed together and it's 30 years later? So we have our city, which is the setting for this book. It is separated by a river called the Rubicon. And people, superpowered people are not supposed to cross it because one side of the river is Marvel, supposedly, we'll call it Marvel, because it's New York. So it's more of a Marvel type world, whereas the other side is more of a Metropolis, Gotham kind of place. Again, it's the combination of those two elements of the real and the fantasy world that most people think about in comics, which they usually think about of DC. So there is that element. And again, that's one of the reasons why I created that map, because it is a story element of crossing the river. So let's see.
And maps are cool.
I had no idea that so many people had thought like I did and agreed with you completely.
Oh, absolutely.
Favorite Marvel and DC character? Favorite DC character? I don't know about that. I really don't know. Of course, my favorite Marvel character is Wolverine. I always loved Wolverine. I always wanted to be like Wolverine. I ended up being more like Scott Summers than Wolverine, though. Wolverine, hands down, is my favorite Marvel character. DC, again, if I could pick a character, it would have to be a character in a certain time. It would probably be Batman of the Neil Adams type. Not your current Batman and not even the 90s Batman, the actual detective Batman. Let's see. Scrolling down, This thing is jumping all the time. Let's see. This one's a long one. Seeing the success of the campaign now, do you think it would ever go this well when you first listed it? No, I did not. In other words, what were your original expectations for this Indiegogo? My original expectations were to get enough money so that if my own funds failed, I could fall back on that to get the book published. Excuse me. So it is as I had said a couple of times now, it's my intent to fund this comic out of my own pocket and to use the money for this campaign now because it's so big to fund the next book. But I only... you always have high hopes, but my practical side said if, again, the original sum I had in my head was probably about $5,000. And I thought if I could make that would help fund in case my own funds ran out. So I never even thought that it would get this big.
I'm not going to lie. I was sitting there on the sidelines just watching it. I mean, I've emailed you about this already, about how just watching the campaign has been an inspiration, because I too had no idea, where this was going to go, how high it would go or what have you. And when you broke 10 and then 15 and then 20, I was just thinking, my goodness, like RJ must be very pleased, because I would be. This is incredible. All the support that you've got. And congratulations again. It's awesome. It's awesome to see it. It's really inspiring.
Thank you. I got another question here. Any tips for keeping yourself motivated and effective while writing scripts or just about any big creative projects that takes up a lot of thankless hours in general? I don't know if I could give you motivating tips for you or for anyone else. I could give you my own motivating tips. Is that when I'm writing a script, I concentrate on what I do best first. So usually what I do is I write all the dialogue because I think that's what I'm best at. And then I flush out the direction for the dialogue and the characters after that. And then I go backwards to the panels and make sure that everything can fit into a panel. Because for my own script, the one that I'm giving Renzo, it's very detailed. And I have to make sure that everything is there down to panel sizes and shapes and everything else. Although Renzo has a free rein to say that's not going to work. We need to do something else. So yeah, concentrate on what you're good at. Make sure that you get that down on the page, and then you will not want to let it go. That's my motivational little blurb, I guess.
I'll jump in too. I'll say, motivation-wise, like this is a real struggle for every artist, writer, artist, creative person, without exception. Don't think that you're alone. That would be the first thing that I would say. Find solace in knowing that there's so many other people who feel exactly the way that you're feeling. And I would say, and this was a very difficult one for me. It took me, well into my 20s and 30s to actually figure out that all of the problems of any of the motivation or whatever was in me. It was me taking the wrong attitude about that. I kept thinking that the motivation was going to be external. I kept thinking that I had to feel it. I kept thinking, honestly, I don't really know exactly all the lies I told myself, but the attitude that I had was really that, why isn't it coming? It should be easier than this, what have you. And then I was listening to, I think it was called The War of Art audiobook by, I think his last name's Pressfield. You go get that audiobook. If you're an artist, if you're a writer, obviously buy the book. Incredible book. And at one point they start talking about Marines, because I guess the writer was, I believe he was a Marine. And he was talking about how these Marines had this attitude about enjoying their suffering, about they were the most miserable MFers ever. And they were proud of it. And it was all about who is more miserable, and they were looking forward to being more miserable. And I know that's kind of funny, but it's sort of this game. It's this attitude that you play, that you take on. And you change your point of view of the thing, and you know that it's going to be a slog. And so you invite it. You invite it into your life. You don't avoid it. You don't push it away. You bring it in, and you know that you can handle it. You have to believe you can handle it. You have to believe that. And so you just take it on, you push into it, you lean into it, and you just sort of, like a badge, you say to yourself, if there's one thing that I know how to do, it's be miserable and get things done while being miserable. And I know that seems kind of cheesy, but it really has worked for me, especially when I found other artist friends and other creative friends, and we're suffering from the same thing. You really have to know that it's within you, and that if you know and understand that you have to change your attitude about it, no one else is going to come in and save the day. There's no one is going to deliver you except you, and just lean into that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to get through a couple of questions here really quick. Do I like to write military sci-fi? I don't like to write military sci-fi, but I would like to write a military sci-fi, something in this world, actually. But I'm one of those people who does not write about what they do not know. Luckily, I have access to military in my family, and so I could probably mine their experiences so that I could understand a little more about what I want to write about. But that would be the only way that I would feel comfortable writing those stories. Blue, no, the lettering does not look that way. There is a reason. I think, Blue, we were going for a X-Men style aesthetic, which back in the day when they actually made good comics, that was not what that coloring looked like. Just to let you know, Blue. Let's see. Who are some of the favorite comic book writers of today? Yeah, that's a hard question. I couldn't even, honestly, their minds fly out of my head so quickly. I know I do reviews. I do 10-second reviews on the the community section of my channel almost about 3, 4, maybe sometimes 5 times a week. But it's not like the old days where I would read the names on the page and burn them into my mind. Right now, they just go out of my head. I really don't have, well, this is for mainstream comics, of course. I don't have that for mainstream comics, and I can't call anybody great. I'm sorry, I just can't. Let's see. So scrolling down. Let's see. Let's see. A lot of questions here, comic. Let's see. What kind of working environment do you work in that helps you? Pressure. Pressure is a great motivator. I'm sorry, but it's my misspent youth being lazy, and I need pressure. So that's getting close to $25,000 from everybody who's backing that book. That's a lot of pressure, and I'm happy for it because it's going to make me get off of my backside and make sure that I'm working on this book and the next one to make them as great as I can. Let's see. Are fake superheroes consciously being corrupted by power? Are the powers themselves corrupting them supernaturally? Sorry. Oh, he's talking about my book. I can't, honestly, I don't want to go into that, unfortunately, because it's going to be part of the storytelling. And even if I did tell you what my mind is going towards right now, that could change. Like I said, there are so many things going on when you have artists working with you, especially multiple artists, which I have. They add so much to the story. Even they're usually things that they think are very little and very off to the side. And I go, wait a second, that is going to change the entire dynamic of my story in a great way. So again, that is a down the line question, which I can't answer right now. And even if I did, it might not come to pass. Oh, there's Elliot. Elliot is one of those artists that I was just talking about. Elliot's doing some amazing fan art for Thomas Valiant right now. I will be posting it fairly soon. It is a beautiful picture. Elliot is another one of those great artists that contacted me, and I'm just blessed to know. So what else? I'm trying to get as many questions in here as I can. Scrolling down. RJ, what is the fourth age? That's a question I get a lot. The fourth age is a old Greek concept. The fourth age is the age of heroes. That's why I named my channel like that from the beginning of my channel. It was about heroes. That was the first description I wrote about in the title of my channel itself. That's why I named it the fourth age, because the fourth age is the age of heroes. And I think we need to bring back the age of heroes in comics. And that's why I'm writing these comics the way that I am.
Agreed.
Let's see. Scrolling down. Oh, there's Renzo. Excuse me. Hello, everyone. Just wanted to say hello and thank you very much for your support. I feel so blessed for all the good people here. I agree, Renzo. Wholeheartedly, I agree. Especially, well, I'll say this about Renzo, and I said this about Nick, and just about Elliot as well. I'm blessed to know these people, but I think that goes for pretty much everyone who is subscribed to my channel. Very few people subscribe to my channel who don't come with something positive and come with something that makes it better. I just have to clear my throat. Please give me one. Okay, scrolling down. Oh, there's Blue again. Scrolling down. Can this be bought digitally? I'm sorry, no, it cannot. We don't have any digital tiers. Scrolling down. Just bought my copy of Thomas Valiant. Thank you very much. Scrolling down. Trying to get as many in as I can before the end of the hour. Let's see. Scrolling down. Everybody seems to be having a good time in the chat now, talking to themselves, which is great. I love to see that. Over 50 people in the chat. That's amazing. Going down. Okay, so I think I've hit the bottom of the chat. I am going to have to go. I will try to do another live stream tonight just because I want to promote this book as much as possible, and I want to answer everybody's questions. And so if you feel like coming back, I'm going to try to get another one in probably about an hour and a half from now before I go on to the other live streams that I have booked for tonight. And I'm already losing my voice, so I don't know how much that's going to work. So I want to thank everybody for showing up.
Thank you all.
Excuse me. Give me 1 second.
We're at 410 backers now, so yeah, we're climbing.
Well, that's great. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for showing up. Thank you very much for being here, Nick, and making sure that they didn't have to listen to me drone on the entire time.
No, it's great.
And I'll thank Michael again when I get on his show. Thank you, Renzo. Thank you, Elliot. Thank you, everybody, for all of your questions. And I have to end this broadcast, unfortunately. I'll see you later. Bye.
See ya.